My mom sold her house to support my sister's big Hollywood break and showed up at my apartment demanding I let them stay. I called the police and now she's crying on Facebook about being betrayed by her own son. I feel bad for the motel staff who have to deal with them. So I, 26M, am moving to California with my husband, 27M. He got a really good job offer there, and since I work in web security and can literally do my job from anywhere, it's a no-brainer for us. Cue the drama, my mom and sister, 24F. Backstory time. My mom has basically been a wannabe stage mom since forever. She had me and my sister auditioning for stuff before we could even walk. Commercials, little modeling gigs, local plays, you name it. My big break was a hair salon commercial at 6 years old, and me and my sister were in an ad for a kiddie play center when we were 5. That's about as far as it went. I quit at 10. Didn't want to do it, had no interest, and honestly hated the whole thing. My sister, on the other hand, has never stopped trying to make it. She's tried singing, she can't really sing. Acting, couldn't even get into community theater. And being an influencer, her account barely made it, past 200 followers before she gave up. Basically, she's been on the verge of being famous for a decade, according to my mom. So, fast forward. When they hear I'm moving to California, my sister immediately decides this is her big chance. She starts telling me how she's meant to be there, and this is a sign from the universe. Then she drops the bomb. She wants to move with us. Now keep in mind, my sister has no job, no money, no savings. So I ask her how exactly she's planning to pay rent in one of the most expensive states in the country. Her answer, she won't. Because my husband and I will support her while she goes to auditions and focuses on her career. Yeah, that was their whole plan. I laughed and said absolutely not. My husband and I are moving for his job and to build our own life, not to bankroll a 24-year-old's pipe dream. My mom immediately flipped out, saying I was turning my back on family and ruining my sister's only chance. My sister started crying about how I don't believe in her and how she'll prove me wrong when she makes it big. Since then, they've both been blowing up my phone with guilt trips. Stuff like, family is supposed to help each other. You'll regret this when she's famous and leaves you behind. Not everyone is lucky enough to have opportunities like you. You should share them. Meanwhile, I'm just over here like, what opportunities? I'm not moving to Hollywood to become an actor. I'm moving because my husband got a promotion. So now I'm the villain for refusing to let my sister mooch off us in California. Update 1. My mom showed up at our apartment with my sister's suitcases and tried to force her way into our move. Here we are. Last time I posted, I explained how my mom and sister expected me and my husband to fund her Hollywood dream when we moved to California. It's been about 3 weeks since I told them no, and things went from annoying to absolutely insane. At first, it was just texts and calls. My mom would call crying, saying she failed as a mother because her children don't support each other. Then my sister would text me random manifestation quotes like, "Everything happens for a reason." Even betrayal. I ignored all of it. I thought if I gave them silence, they'd get bored and move on. Then last weekend happened. Me and my husband were packing boxes at our apartment when we heard loud banging on the door. I thought maybe a neighbor had a delivery. Nope, it was my mom. And behind her, my sister, with 2 giant suitcases. My husband froze. I just stared at them through the peephole like, no way. When I opened the door, my mom immediately brushed past me like she owned the place. She said, "We made it in time," and told my sister to bring her things inside. I was so stunned I just said, "What are you doing?" She smiled and said, "We thought it would be easier if she just rode down with you guys. We packed everything she'll need until she gets on her feet." I said, "She's not coming." My mom laughed like I was joking. "Oh, don't be ridiculous. She's family. You can't leave her behind." My husband finally stepped in and said, "We've already told you both that she's not moving with us. This is not happening." That's when my mom lost it. She started yelling that we were abandoning my sister, that real family helps each other, and that I was too influenced by my husband. Classic line, when in doubt, blame the spouse. My sister started fake crying, saying she gave up everything to follow her dream, and we were crushing her spirit. I asked what exactly she'd given up, and she said, "My comfort zone." She doesn't have a job. Her comfort zone is her bedroom at my mom's house, watching Netflix and posting old selfies with inspirational captions like, Trust the process. I told her again, you're not coming. We have one apartment lease, 2 names on it, and it's not a hostel for failed influencers. My mom gasped like I slapped her. How can you talk to your sister like that? She's sensitive. I said, she's also 24, not 14. She can figure her life out like the rest of us. That's when my mom actually said, you make more money than you need. What's the harm in sharing? I laughed. Out loud. She said, you always had it easier than her. You don't understand how hard it is when you're the one who has the talent. I said, yeah, her talent for spending other people's money. My husband was trying not to laugh behind me. That made my mom angrier. She started shouting that he turned me against my own family. She called him a controlling man to his face and said she knew he never liked my sister. My husband calmly said, you're right, I don't. Then my mom threatened us. She said, if you leave without her, don't bother coming back. You'll regret this when you have no family left. I told her, I already regret letting you in the building. I think that's when she realized I wasn't bluffing, because she started crying, like full-on movie tears, and said, you're breaking your mother's heart. My sister sniffled next to her, trying to look tragic, but then she said, Mom, my bags are heavy. Can we just put them in the car while we talk? I looked at my husband and said, call security. When he picked up his phone, my mom snapped. She screamed, you're calling the police on your own mother? I said, no, I'm calling the building staff to escort you out because you're trespassing. She yelled, you'll burn bridges you can't rebuild, and stormed out of the apartment, dragging my sister behind her. My sister was sobbing, saying, you're cruel. I'm gonna tell everyone what you did. I said, go ahead, make a TikTok. Maybe that'll finally go viral. They left, but it didn't end there. That night, I got about 20 voicemails, crying, yelling, guilt-tripping, the whole performance. One message was from my mom saying, if you think I won't tell your grandparents what a monster you are, you're wrong. Another was my sister saying, when I'm famous, don't even think about coming to my premiere. My husband poured me a drink and said, you realize your sister's premiere will be at a Red Lobster. For a few days after, we didn't hear from them. Then yesterday, my aunt called. She's my mom's sister and usually neutral, but even she said, what happened? Your mom told everyone you kicked her and your sister out on the street. I explained the truth. My aunt laughed so hard she snorted. She said, your mom told me they were halfway packed for California. She thought you'd come around. Apparently, my mom told her entire friend group that my sister got a role in LA and that we were helping her start her career. She even made a Facebook post about it. So proud of my daughter for chasing her dreams in Hollywood. Complete with a headshot from when my sister was 16. Everyone congratulated her. She's living in a fantasy version of our lives where my husband and I are her sponsors. I texted my mom today, telling her that if she keeps spreading lies, I'll start correcting them publicly. She replied, you wouldn't embarrass your own mother like that. I said, try me. She hasn't responded since. We're officially moving next week. I told building security not to let anyone in without my approval. I have a feeling my mom will try one last surprise visit before we go. Honestly, I'm done being the family ATM. My sister's Hollywood dream can stay in her imagination where it belongs. I love my mom, but she raised a daughter who thinks the world owes her a spotlight. Final update. Hey again. I said last time I had a bad feeling my mom and sister weren't done. I was right, but even I couldn't have predicted how far they'd go. This will probably be my last post, because honestly, I'm exhausted. So, my husband and I officially moved to California 2 weeks ago. We drove across the country, took our time, made a few fun stops, and tried to start fresh. I blocked my mom and sister before we left, figuring it would stop the drama. For the first few days after we got here, everything felt peaceful. We unpacked, set up furniture, explored the area. It finally felt like we were building a life for us. Then it started. Day 4 in our new apartment, the front desk called saying, your guests are here. I thought it might be a delivery or a neighbor. Nope, it was them, my mom and sister, standing in the lobby in California. My mom had driven her car across 3 states, and my sister had filmed the whole trip for TikTok. I didn't even know because I had them blocked, but apparently she'd been posting Road to Hollywood videos the whole way. A coworker of mine found one on his For You page and showed me later. The caption said, my big brother's helping me make my dream come true. We're moving to LA. When I came down to the lobby, I swear my jaw dropped. My mom looked proud. My sister was wearing sunglasses indoors, and both of them had luggage piled around them like they were checking into a hotel. I said, "What the hell are you doing here?" My mom goes, "Surprise! We made it. I told you the universe would lead us here." I said, "You're not staying here." She smiled like that was negotiable. "Don't be ridiculous. We already got your address from your uncle. We'll just crash with you a few days while sister gets settled." I laughed because it was that or scream. I said, "You drove 1,800 miles to get rejected again?" That's when my sister started crying, like full sobbing in the middle of the lobby. "You're humiliating me in front of everyone. You promised to help me." I said, "No, you promised that to yourself." I never agreed. My mom hissed, "We came all this way for you, and this is how you treat your family?" I said, "No, you came all this way for a fantasy." The front desk worker was already calling security because people were staring. My mom tried to guilt trip the poor guy, saying, "Can you believe he's turning away his own mother?" He said, "Ma'am, this isn't my business, but you can't just show up at someone's residence uninvited." I thought that would be the end of it, but my mom pulled the ultimate guilt grenade. She said, "We sold the house." I froze. "You what?" She nodded. "We sold it last week. I told you we were starting fresh. This is where we belong." Apparently, she actually sold her house and used the money to invest in my sister's career, headshots, acting classes, and some modeling agency that's obviously a scam. She thought they'd live with us until the career takes off. My husband, who had been upstairs working, came down at that exact moment. He saw the scene, walked straight up to my mom, and said, "You have 5 minutes to leave this property, or we're calling the police." My mom gasped like he'd slapped her. "You're threatening your wife's family?" He said, "I'm protecting my family, and that doesn't include freeloaders." My sister screamed, "You're evil." My mom yelled, "You'll regret this when she's a star." And that's when my husband held up his phone and said, "Cool. I'll tell that to the cops when they arrive." Security escorted them out. My mom shouted over her shoulder, "This isn't over." My sister filmed herself crying the entire time, saying, "My brother abandoned me." I thought that would be the end of it, but the next morning, there was a knock on the door. I didn't answer, but I checked the peephole, and there they were again. I told my husband not to engage. Then we heard banging, my sister yelling, "You can't ignore us! We're family!" So yeah, we called the police. 2 officers came. My mom immediately tried to spin the story, saying she'd been invited to stay, but my husband turned violent. The officers asked for proof. She had none. They told her if she didn't leave immediately, they'd charge her with trespassing. My sister tried to argue, saying, "This is my home too." The cop said, "No, it's not." Watching them get escorted off the property was surreal. My mom kept shouting that she'd never forgive me. My sister was live streaming it on TikTok, saying, "They're kicking me out of my brother's house, and I have nowhere to go." By the way, the comments on that live were brutal. People were calling her delusional and telling her to get a job. One even wrote, "Girl, you're 24, not a Disney Channel reboot." After the police left, I blocked their numbers again. My aunt texted later, saying my mom was telling everyone I'd abandoned them and that they were homeless in LA. My aunt said, "Don't worry, nobody's buying it. She's been like this for years." Apparently, they checked into a cheap motel nearby. 2 days later, my mom posted on Facebook, "Proud to announce that my daughter and I have officially moved to California to chase our dreams. So grateful for my son's support," with a photo of them on a random beach. The comment section was full of "so proud" and "you raised a star." Meanwhile, I'm just watching this circus unfold from across town. Yesterday, my aunt called again. She said my mom's money is already running low because my sister spent half of it on networking brunches and professional photo shoots. Translation, overpriced coffee, and someone's cousin with a Canon camera. They're now talking about moving back once the right opportunity comes. The truth is, I stopped caring. I'm done playing the responsible one. I didn't cause this. They did. They sold their house chasing a fantasy, ignored every warning, and expected me to pick up the pieces. For the first time in my life, I'm not cleaning up their mess. I blocked them completely. Phone, email, social media, everything. My aunt's handling any real emergencies, but as far as I'm concerned, they're strangers. Me and my husband are finally living in peace. We walk to the beach, we work, we cook dinner without the phone blowing up. It's quiet, it's perfect, And if that makes me cold or ungrateful, so be it. Because here's the thing. I spent 26 years being the responsible one while my mom lived in denial and my sister played pretend. I'm done being their ATM, their scapegoat, and their safety net. And as for my sister's Hollywood dream, her last post was a video of her crying in a motel room with the caption, "Some people don't believe in me, but that's okay. I believe in myself." The top comment said, "Then start believing in a job." I laughed so hard I almost felt bad. Almost. So yeah, that's the ending. They wanted Hollywood drama. Now they're living it. Hope they enjoy LOL.